Mel alone has played more matches than all of EDG combined. But on this stage, anything can happen. I think it might be closer than we think.
Low on HP, Wawa out in the open, Mel takes care of her. It's a double for the leader, and Shopify up to 5 on the trot. They are eons away from this spike, and with that smoke in play, it's a wide swing for Noya. Disgusting work from the Dane, and the sticks coming through. There's nothing that Wawa Lee can do. It's a perfect shot onto the first. Poor Blue, stuck in a corner with nothing to do, and Floor will keep it going. 13-1 over EDG to start their international run here in Brazil. Solo plays, guys. We need to be a coordinated team. But some tells me he's not too mad about this outcome. Floor, another. She's just unstoppable. 3 kills in the second round. Alexis sustaining with great utility. Noya swings. And there was moments of hope. But in a 1v3, surely there's not a chance when you're up against Noya. 4 kills for her. Blue starts things off for EDG, but Alexis will siege back into the site and find 2 kills. Noya is just behind, and Shopify have A on lock. Shopify Rebellion enter the international stage with dominance. Only 3 rounds lost as they send Edward Gaming to the lower bracket.
Match between BBL Queens and KRÜ Blaze. I'm your host Yingsu, and I'm back here with Baby Bay and Sapphire. I am so excited for this game, and of course for the international fans to be able to see BBL for the first time on this stage as well, Sapphire, because they had a great year and they come into this tournament as one of the favorites.
They do, yeah. It's been a really exciting run for them. This team has been forming over the last couple months. They had a great start to the year, finishing second in Series 2. Dropped off a little, but like looking as good as ever after winning Series 3. And not only just winning it, but such a dominant fashion. And there's so much hype around all of these individual players. They've got obviously Vanya, they got a really young player in Wenz. The entire roster is super exciting.
Yeah, it's just something about Turkish Valorant, bro. They're just all gods at the game. Just God's gift to the game. And Vanya is just an absolute monster on this controller role, especially the Omen.
Yeah, and this is the thing, when it comes to Turkish Valorant, we've seen, you know, Foot do pretty well this year, but we've never had a Turkish team win a title. So everybody in Turkey right now, Safa, are incredibly excited.
I can't imagine what the crowd is. Obviously, we've been to Istanbul. The crowd was incredible. Just, I think it was cheering for one player. Now they've got an entire roster to cheer for. I've seen a number of videos on social cheering for those players. They must feel so good to know that their whole country's behind them.
And I think something that you touched on, Yinsu, that's really good is how they performed in the split 2 of Game Changers and how they bounced back and ended up looking even more dominant than ever.
Yeah, this is the thing. You guys mentioned it already. You know, when a team, when they don't lose for a long time and they do lose, you have to question how they're able to bounce back. But the fact that they've done it already, do you feel like that gives them an edge, perhaps?
Yeah, I mean, you're as hungry as ever. They're in form, all of them. And now they want to win this title. Like you said, no Turkish team has won a title yet. They can be the first.
Oh, what do you think, Sapphire?
I mean, they're certainly poised to. Like, this team dominated in Series 3, and there's a lot of hype. And then just, like I said, individually, they have so many great pieces. And even, like, knowing that this team, like, lives in a house together, like, they've got so much chemistry. Like, being together in person is not something that's new for them. They've been doing it for months in prep for this.
Yeah, of course. Wenz was a slightly late addition, but not as late as some of the other teams with their roster come into this. So they do have a veteran roster that's been together for a long time. And unfortunately, I do have to inform you guys guys at home that Alkia will not be playing on stage today. She will be playing in isolation for today's series. Of course, their star duelist, the person that puts up enormous numbers. How much of a difference do you think this could potentially make for BBL?
It's unfortunate, especially when we talk about a team that like has such good chemistry together and they like being together and they feed off each other's energy. But like we've seen it before, you know, in VCT where players have kept in isolation. I remember Optic had players held back and they just did perfectly fine. So it's doable. You know, they've got to look past it and realize you're still fine. Nothing changes beyond your players just not next to you.
Yeah, I think it also depends on like how severe of a sickness she has, you know what I mean? Like, is she going to be the same in the server? Is she feeling okay? Like, we don't really know all that information. Hopefully she's feeling fine and she's 100%, but there is a chance that, you know, maybe she doesn't perform as well because she is sick.
Yeah, but there's always, you know, there is the adrenaline rush. So hopefully playing your first international event, so hopefully she's feeling fine and looking forward to this match.
And the beauty of BBL is if Alkia is not on it, as you guys just saw there, Wenz, Vanya, Eva, literally any of them will step up and quite literally win a 1v4. Wenz won like 2 1v4s on one map at one time. So I feel like it's going to be okay. And we're going to talk about their IGL in a second. She's actually standing by right now with Mika Fabs.
Hey Vanya, can we pull you over here for a quick question? Awesome, the legend herself, Vanya from BBL. Now you guys are the #1 seed from EMEA. How do you plan to maintain your momentum, especially up against an opponent like KRÜ? And we've got Rebecca over here to help with some translation.
Hoş geldin öncelikle. EMEA'dan 1. sırada geldiniz. KRÜ'ye karşı olan momentumunuzu nasıl ayakta tutacaksınız?
Sağlam iletişim ve tamamen özgüvenle.
With strong communication and confidence.
Sounds good. We can't wait to see you up there. Best of luck to you guys.
I mean, for those of you that might not be familiar with Vanya, she's an IGL, but she's not a regular IGL. She is a top fragging, entry, clutching, do-it-all GOAT. I am literally such a big fan of her. I know I'm going to sound a little bit biased here, but Baby Bay, I'm not wrong though. Like, you know, I'm coming from a good place.
Rank 1 in KD is something that FNS has been striving for forever. That's
Don't
impressive.
do it like
That's
that.
crazy though. Rank 1 KDA as an IGL is insane. It's unheard of before, honestly.
Yeah, not just among, but among everyone.
Yeah, in other games too.
Yeah.
In any game ever. It does not happen.
No, it doesn't. This player is like almost like a once in a lifetime. What a pleasure to be able to watch Fluorescent and Vanya back to back. Like, we are in it for a treat with these players.
Yeah, and the craziest thing is Vanya even said, you know, we've asked her, like, you're an IGL, you frag out, how do you do it? What's the balance like? You know, why are you able to do these things other people aren't? And dead ass, she said skill diff. Like, dead ass skill diff response.
That's kind of what I got out of that interview too with Mika. Like, she was just so confident. She's just in it. But coming with a lot of confidence, we saw Mel last year. Sometimes it doesn't go your way, so, you know, we'll see.
Again, it's going to be their first big land too, Sapphire. They haven't really been tested at all internationally, so this is going to be interesting.
It's a lot of pressure. I mean, everything, you know, I've heard from all of our EMEA friends of like, this team's going to win it. This team's going to win it all. There's me. Yeah, there's a lot of people hyping them up. And so, again, that can add a lot of maybe unnecessary pressure as you go into this, and they're facing an opponent that's not a slouch. Like, it's not going to be a necessarily easy game to start off.
Yeah, and let's talk about KRÜ here, because we've seen a team already in this tournament where they've been undefeated. You know, SMG, they were on a nice win streak, very dominant in their region, and it feels like KRÜ similar, right? Super dominant in their region. What are you expecting out of them?
Yeah, it's interesting because that's what we saw from KRÜ last year too, and I remember the very famous plat chat card of like, KRÜ's gonna win the event, and they came in and went 0-2. So that was a big disappointment for that team. Obviously, they're returning with a majority of the roster, which you could say that puts them in a very unique position. I think only them and G2 are the two teams returning with 3 players to an international event. So being able to bring the core of your roster and have been so dominant in your region, I think they're in a little better position than last year.
Yeah, and somebody that I really like on this team is Michaela. Like, I think she's actually a sick duelist, especially on maps like Ascent, Bind, stuff like that. She really shines on these maps and actually carries her team a lot of the time.
Yeah, the Bind is going to be very, very interesting if that comes up today. Very, very dominant from KRÜ. But first, let's send it down to Mika Fabs, who's standing by with Connor.
Kinnear, do you have time for a quick question? Okay, perfect. We have Kinnear here on the side of KRÜ now. You guys dominated LATAM, and now you have a very tough opponent in BBL. I understand that you have one very quick, one very simple plan to continue your success on the global stage.
Use teamwork.
Okay, enough said.
Okay. I wish it was that easy, huh?
I mean, you gotta love it that we got two extremely confident teams going head to head. It's gonna be a bloodbath.
Yeah, one of them is like skill diff, the other one's teamwork, so we'll see which one reigns supreme in the series, huh?
What are you leaning towards?
I think I'm leaning towards skill diff, I'm not gonna lie.
Of course he is. Of course he is.
There's a classic quote from Marv when he was on my team. Doesn't matter what strat the enemy team has if you shoot him in the head.
I like it. I like it. I mean, I like
That's
it.
right. It doesn't matter what agents you play, what utility, if you
as long as you shoot him in the head.
We could see that. We could see that today. But let's talk about this KRÜ roster because, again, returning players, a lot of revenge on their mind, didn't show their full potential last time around. But Sapphire, talk me through the new additions as well. What do they bring into the team?
Yeah, obviously you mentioned Michaela, like this young player, this superstar, like incredibly aggressive on this roster. She's been a superstar for the team. And then as you look over to Shai's another like newer player, but actually a very like versatile, interesting agent pool. Like sometimes we see her on the Sentinels, other times she's playing different initiators. So I like the versatility from the roster, and then it allows kind of those core players that they've had from the beginning just really to frag out. Like again, we've seen Kinnear, we've seen Rami. They were superstars in their region, and now we need to see them doing it on the international stage.
Yeah, and something else that I like about this team is they're pretty versatile in their comps. They switch it up consistently. Like week by week, I was watching them change their comps. Apart from Ascent. Ascent is a very standard map. You can't really change anything. You don't want to reinvent the wheel on that map. But on a lot of these maps, like Bind, even Split, they've played like 3 different comps. So it's like you don't know what they're going to pull out in a time like this.
Yeah, and also you don't want to play against BBL on Ascent. You just don't. You're not going to want to go there. A lot of the teams in EMEA, they avoided that as well. But I want to take a look at the Sentinel players from each side as in a head-to-head because Sapphire, there's so many talented duelist players, you know, even on both of these teams, they can all frag out. But I think the Wens versus Rami head-to-head is interesting.
It's very interesting. Obviously, Wens is this new player that has very few officials under her belt. Like I think she's very close with Fluorescent being the youngest player in this tournament. So she's been a really consistent player, and like you said, one of the best things about her is her sane ability to clutch. So if she can stay alive, her team can rely on her to get that clutch. When you look at the other side, Rami, like stat-wise, is up there with some of the best. If you look at across like ADA, KPR, everything, like Rami is consistently in that top 10 globally.
Yeah, Wen's a Swiftie, by the way. Shout out. Shout out to my fellow Swiftie. I honestly think, like you said, there doesn't even seem to be a lot that separates them when it comes to firepower necessarily. But BBL, they've had a lot of practice in their region against teams that have been to LAN before. You know, against G2, Guild. I think maybe, at least from a fan's perspective, Baby Bay having the edge, being the favorite.
Yeah, it's something that you said earlier. They literally grind the game more than anybody else in their region. And it's like, it shows in the gameplay. So I'm excited to watch this. I think that they are the favorites for sure. But I wouldn't be surprised if KRÜ pulls some stuff out of like that little hat, you know, and like and do something crazy and maybe upset them. That stat line is ridiculous.
Yeah, see, Romy, like, you know, despite like the LATAM region maybe doesn't necessarily have like the strongest ranks, but like if you look at like globally, Romy is just so consistent, like always at the top of the scoreboard, and her ability to get first bloods too is so impressive.
Yeah, and of course they've never played it against each other before, so this is going to be a great battle. But earlier I got a chance to sit down with Vanya and Felipa from BBL Queens to talk about their road to get here to São Paulo. Check it out. I am absolutely thrilled to be joined by two of the queens of EMEA. It is Felipe and Vanya from BBL Queens, and Rebecca here to do some translations. Now, you guys were the champions of EMEA not too long ago, and now you're sitting here in São Paulo about to play the most important tournament in the Game Changers circuit. So, Felipe and Vanya, what are your emotions? How are you feeling about this?
I've been playing video games for years, like when I was 7 or something, and I'm competing like from when I was 12, and I was just imagining like playing in this kind of events, being like in different countries with different people. But it was just imagination. I didn't think that it's gonna happen. It's so good to be here. Now I have my family support as well, because I had no before, since we were not like getting anything. Like once we been the champions, like they started supporting even more.
Yeah, and the Turkish fans as well. They're going to be
of
really
course.
supporting you guys. And what about you, Vanya?
Felipa'nınki gibi aslında. Ben de küçüklükten beri oyun oynuyorum ilkokuldan beri. Ve hep bunu istiyordum. Bunun doğrultusunda çalışıp başarılı olunca her şey yerine oturdu. Ailem de beni sonradan desteklemeye başladılar. Çok mutluyum burada olduğum için. Çünkü hep buranın hayalini kuruyordum. Böyle bir yerde olmanın. O yüzden hayallerime kavuştuğum için gayet mutluyum ve heyecanlıyım.
It is actually similar to Felipe's story. I have been playing since I was really young, and after I started to show some success, my family started supporting me as well, and it has always been a dream to come to a LAN event and play on stage, and this is like a really big opportunity, and I feel really excited.
Yeah, you guys deserve it as well. You did very well this year in EMEA. Now, Vanya, I have a question for you, because a lot of IGLs, they get criticized about perhaps their mechanics and fragging abilities, but how do you balance the duties of IGLing with fragging out for your team?
Bu sorum sana geliyor Vanya. Normalde IGL'ler çok fazla hani frag alamıyor ya da oyunda daha geri planda kalıyorlar. Daha doğrusu böyle söyleniyor ama senin hakkında bu daha önce hiç söylenmedi. Sen buradaki bu balansı nasıl yakalıyorsun?
Genel olarak hani IGL'lere bu gözle bakılmadığını biliyorum. Bende farklı olan şeyin nedenini açıkçası ben de bilmiyorum ama oyunu yaşayarak oynadığım için olabilir. Çünkü oyunu adeta yaşıyorum oynarken, her şeyin farkındayım, her şeyin bilincindeyim. Bütün özellikler gelince IGL'lik beni çok yormuyor. Ne kadar performansım azalsa da daha fazla performansım var ki azaldığı hali bile yeterince iyi.
So actually, yeah, it is true that this is said about IGLs, but for me, I just really live and feel the game, and I'm really conscious and aware of what's happening around me during the game. And I think like these abilities coming together helps me play the way that I do, and this just shows that I have so much skill that even while IGLing, I still play at this level.
Amen, amen. And for you also, Felipe, being her teammate, it must be nice, right? Knowing that your IGL can sometimes entry, she's clutching as well. So how do you feel about being able to rely on someone like Vanya?
Honestly, she gives us more confidence, because even though we forget something, like she's always here to remind us, and she's pretty good at multitasking, I can say. Yeah. So she can look at the radar and play her own game, do everything at the same time. So it's great to play with her.
Oh, I can't wait to see it on land. I can't wait to see that. And a last question before I let you guys go. Now, some of the regions in this tournament have already played Sunset and Breeze in officials. You guys haven't yet. Do you see this as a disadvantage, Felipe, at all?
Not really. We still had time to work on it. I mean, Breeze was a map that we played before already. And it's like similar to us. It's not that hard to play. Also, Sunset fits our gameplay. I like to play it personally, also as a team. So it's not a big deal for us.
Oh, I can't wait to see it. Thank you very much, Vanya and Felipe, and also Rebecca for translating as well. And good luck in this tournament.
Thank you so much.
Honestly, they're confident on the new maps. They seem to be in a good mood. The vibes are high. Vanya telling us there that she's just better than some of the other IGLs, which I agree with, by the way. I categorically agree with. I just don't see a world where BBL don't do super well in this tournament, and it's starting to scare me after seeing how well Shopify were doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, of course, Alkia
is looking good today.
Yeah.
Alkia is looking good.
Nice.
Yeah, it's you almost want to not be too confident in a sense. I like the energy. I like the positivity. Like I don't want to get my hopes up now because I'm feeling like I'm starting to get on board the BBL train.
Have I brought you onto the hype train?
I might be on the getaway car for BBL train. We'll see.
I love it, Sapphire. I love it. What about you?
I'm definitely on the train already, but I will say I think the best thing about them is that they're so motivated by, like wanting to seize the moment right now. They want this tournament. They're like, yeah, I've dreamed of this moment. I've dreamed of playing on an international stage and holding a trophy up. Yeah. And that's such a good motivation to have as a player.
I do want to quickly say on the other side though, because like I think you made a really good point, Sapphire. KRÜ, they're not pushovers. They're gonna make this incredibly difficult. They have a great chance in this tournament as well. And again, some of those members, they've been in this situation already. It's not gonna be their first time.
They have. They've been through here. They've been through all the motions of this event before. They're not gonna be happy. Just like we talked about Melon, they're not happy with that 0-2 from last year. And then this year, going into the LATAM division, they were more dominant than ever. A lot of their wins are like 13-4s, 13-5. So they're looking really strong too. And I think this is going to be a much closer series than the one we just watched.
Yeah, definitely. The drive that they have because of how they bombed out last year, that's enough in itself. And that's why you're seeing a lot of, even in a lot of their series, it was 2-0s. And they played a couple best of 5s that were like 3-1, so they barely dropped maps. But at the same time, they actually didn't really get to play that many matches this year, and that's kind of what I'm worried about a little bit, compared to like how many matches that BBL played.
Yeah, exactly. You compare that to them, all the matches they play, but then also that they're in a gaming house together. And they've done interviews where they're talking about like they just sit down at dinner and they just theory craft together. Like they live and breathe prepping for this tournament.
I mean, that could be a good thing and a bad thing, because the amount of tape that you're going to be giving to your opponents, the amount of anti-strat they're going to be doing, you know how it goes both ways.
Oh yeah, it's so annoying being anti-strat. Man, on FaZe, we had to play against the guard actually, and man, that was just not a fun time when they understood what we were doing. We got countered in anything that we were doing. We were such noobs at the time. But yeah, it's definitely frustrating to play against, and when that happens and you don't know how to adapt on the fly and you don't have an answer, it can snowball out of control, and that's where you see games get out of hand.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's what they need to be prepared here for, because once you start to lose that momentum, like things are going to slip away, and especially on LAN, like you don't want that to happen, because then again you have to walk backstage, you have to think about map 2, you feel so like down and defeated, like they countered everything, like what are we supposed to do? Can we change the map veto at this point? No, you can't. So like you're stuck with what you got. You need to come in as prepared as you can, and like again, having that extra tape out there does leave you vulnerable for that.
Yeah, I mean, if we take a look at the bracket and see what they're going to be playing for, of course, the first place and a title and a trophy here in São Paulo. But besides that, if you drop into that lower bracket right now, EG are down there, Liquid are down there. I know EDG didn't have the best day today, but they're down there as well. You don't want to be going down there this early. This game is absolutely massive, baby, for both of these teams.
Yeah, and honestly, forget about who loses. Whoever wins has to play against the Shopify that we just saw. I mean,
it's like
that is crazy.
A rock and a hard place,
yeah,
right?
It's like, we won. I feel great. But now we have to play against a team that only dropped 3 rounds.
Yeah, exactly. But still better than the alternative, because that lower bracket run is a very, very long run to the finals. So you're going to want to start off strong here with a win.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We've heard from BBL already. Let's hear from KRÜ in just a moment. I've got a fun little bit of content for you guys, but for now, let's talk a little bit more about where we're going to think the maps are going to go. I think you mentioned the bind. For KRÜ, they love that map. That's going to come up for sure, right?
Yeah, honestly, if I am BBL into this matchup, I'm definitely getting rid of bind. There's a no-brainer. KRÜ all-time are 12-0 on the map. Now, keep in mind, some of that is involved with chamber meta, and I think this year alone, they're like 3-0. And they've played, like I said, multiple different comps. So it's like, which one are they going to beat you with? You know what I mean? I think that's something that they should stay away from. BBL should stay away from bind. But, you know, at the same time, if I was KRÜ, I'd probably stay away from Ascent, like you were saying.
Yeah, BBL plays a ridiculous amount of Ascent. I think what I'm most interested in is like the Sunset, because neither of these teams had it in their map pool to get to this event. Obviously, we just heard from BBL that it's something that they've been practicing and they're excited for that. So I'm wondering if that's maybe something they want to pull out, because we don't know if it's a ban from KRÜ or not.
I also wonder what comp they're going to run there. I know BBL does like to run a lot of Breach, so I'm assuming it's going to be that, because like right now on Lotus maps especially, they're like one of the only teams that continue running Breach on that map. I haven't seen that in like forever, you know. So
yeah, do you know what else is really crazy? Is that did you expect to see this much sunset and no breeze so far in the first 2 days?
that is such a good point. I personally like Breeze, but maybe these teams, they just like forget this map. They're thinking of the old one. You know, the new one's definitely a lot better. But you know what? Sunset is just a fun map, honestly, and it's a breath of fresh air to play something new for a lot of these teams and really show how you can cook up.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. These teams, especially for the ones that didn't have it in their map pool, it's a chance that they can kind of practice in secret in a sense and pull something out new, whereas like other regions like North America have been playing it, and so like you can surprise them a bit.
Maybe everybody's pocket pick is just the breeze.
Could
Everyone's
be.
like, we can play breeze, we're not going to show it.
That should be.
Because, I mean, let's not forget, the grand final is a best of 5. So there's a very, very high chance that you might have to play breeze.
Yeah, I think, you know, what I would do, a lot of teams are probably doing, thinking about, you know, we gotta save some things. Like this is a long tournament, you know, you don't want to show all your cards early up.
At this point, we should have a poll saying which one's first, ISO or Breeze, because
Oh my goodness.
nobody, actually, now that I think about it, nobody's playing Breeze. And I'm thinking of a lot of these teams, I'm like, why would you not want to play it? Like, your players would dominate on it.
I think breeze for me. I reckon breeze.
You think Breeze will come before ISO?
Yeah.
I think so.
I think that's legit. I think that's fair.
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, also...
I just really want to see ISO. I'm sorry. I want to see it so bad.
Are you willing to hot take it? Because we had some pretty insane hot takes yesterday. And Sapphire, you had the unfortunate event of not having to listen to this man talk about how EG are going to run it back to back. It was a hot take, though.
It was.
I respect that.
Was
that.
it a good one?
Time will tell. Time will tell.
Yes.
Time will tell.
Yes, it was.
But
Watch.
do you have any hot takes? I want to see if you have any.
My hot take. Wow. Is it a hot take to say that G2 is going to be back in the finals again? I feel like people are counting them out, and I never count out that team.
Yeah,
I do
you're
not
the
count
real
them
one.
out.
You're the real one.
I stay by them. That's my
think?
hot
I would probably rate that like something a little bit higher than mild.
Yeah, a little mild.
Because
yeah,
like
medium.
I could, like it makes sense because they are LAN gods, honestly. Like that is what it is.
Yep.
But at the same time, with all the hype around Shopify and even BBL, it's like, you know what I mean? That seems like a very mild take on what a final could look like in this tournament.
I think today's game will kind of give you a better idea,
Exactly.
right? How they're gonna match up against SMG, for example. Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be a different one. You know, it's gonna be a
is so
test
true.
of Mimi's calling if she's playing. You know, calling against 4 duelists again and 5 smokes. I think they've done that one before. So.
Yeah, I mean, luckily that game is going to be coming up a little bit later. We do have the first one coming up for you guys, BBL versus KRÜ. And let's take a look at this IGL head-to-head, Konya versus Vanya here. We've spoken a lot about Vanya already. Again, Konya on the experience side, she has Vanya beat. Safa, you can't deny it. She's been to a big LAN like this before.
Kanir is an OG.
Yeah.
Kanir's been competing for so long, and so she's been here for many times before, and yeah, she might have an edge in that sense, obviously, but it's hard to even like count Vanya out. Like I'm literally just like running through the top 10 stats in my head of like every category, and like Vanya is just there. But okay, like Kanir, like look at those numbers.
They're great numbers
good.
indeed, but I think the maps is what's going to be able to tell how this series is going to go today. And you know what? The coaches are ready, so let's send it down there and find out which maps we're going to be seeing.
So we're starting the map select process for BBL versus KRÜ. BBL has the higher seed, so starts choosing if wants to be Team A or Team B.
Pick A.
So BBL Team A.
Yes.
Okay, let me just put it here. And KRÜ is Team B. So BBL starts banning a map.
Ben Breeze.
Breeze,
Yeah.
okay. A ban for KRÜ.
Haven.
Haven, okay. First map pick for BBL.
Pick Sunset.
Sunset. Side on Sunset for KRÜ.
Ataque.
Ataque. Okay. Map for KRÜ.
Big bind.
Bind. Side on bind for BBL.
T sides.
Sorry,
T
defense?
sides.
Attack.
Yeah, attack.
Yeah, okay. So the second set of bans, BBL starts banning. You have Ascent, Lotus, and Split.
Ben Lotus.
Lotus, okay. The last ban for KRÜ,
Split.
Split. Okay, so we have Ascent as the sider. Side on Ascent for BBL.
City sides.
Defense,
Yeah,
right?
defense.
Okay, that's it. Good luck, have fun.
Before we start the match today, we want to honor the memory of two members of our community, Turkish trailblazer Gizem Hamankaya and KRÜ's Santiago Davies Ruiz, both of whom tragically lost their lives this year, and they will be missed. Please join us as we pay our respects with a moment of silence. Thank you very much to everyone who's watching all over the world for joining us for that moment of silence. Like I said, both of them will be sorely, sorely missed. Now we're going to move back into the match. Again, I think both of these teams are coming into this tournament with a lot of pressure, with a lot of ambitions, with a lot of revenge. I think there's a lot of storylines that we could pluck in and out, but also I think following the theme of every single other walkout we've seen, all of the teams just seems to be friends with each other. They do the walkouts together, they have their little dances, and it's so beautiful to see.
As I said, this is the best event of the year because the teams are just like so happy to be there. They're so happy to meet the other players, many of whom they've looked up to when they're competing. But yeah, a lot of exciting energy. But obviously now, now they're enemies. Now they go into their huddles and it's game time.
Yeah, it's so funny seeing how everyone's so close and so friendly, and then you get in game and people are shooting bodies,
Yeah,
doing all
yelling
this
at each
stuff.
other. Yeah.
Nobody takes it
Oh my
personally,
gosh.
though. I feel like it's fair game for everyone. But let's
yeah.
talk about that Matt Vito. I don't know what's going on, but another Sunset pick from a team that's never played Sunset before right off the bat. You guys think that's the right decision?
Well, I think so. You know, like we talked about, that lower bracket run is hard. You really, really want to start off with a win here. Like, you're not going necessarily against Shopify yet. This is a match for either side is winnable, and they want to start off with something that's a surprise, something that they feel like they're not going to get counter-shredded, because that can be, as you said, baby, really, really annoying. So they want to start out with some surprises here.
Yeah, it's like I said yesterday, it's like when you pick a map like this that you've never played before, it's almost like you're trying to make a statement. And if you make that statement correctly, teams for the rest of the tournament will be scared to pick it against you. It makes your map pool much deeper. And yeah, you can really play to even like picking what you want, Team A or Team B. Like, it all depends.
Yeah, and the bind though, I think everybody on the planet. You surprised that? I mean, KRÜ are always going to pick it, right?
Yeah, but I'm surprised it went through.
Oh,
yeah,
you think BBL should have banned it?
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't see BBL as like the best bind team. Now, granted, they're not bad by any means at any map, but I believe, like, why even risk it against a team that hasn't even dropped it yet? But also, that just shows how confident they are. Maybe they wanted that challenge, and they want to make a statement with that in itself.
Yeah, they're playing to their strengths. As Kinnear said, like, teamwork. That's it, teamwork. And they feel like they have the teamwork on bind. And then obviously we round out with Ascent, which is interesting to know that it's a map that BBL has played God knows how many times.
I can't wait to see this Prime Gaming agent select. Would you look at that? I'm starting to feel a meta developing here.
Nice, nice. The only difference here is we have a Skye instead of a Fade, but Skye is still great, like, by all means. It's still a really good character. I personally like the Fade a little bit more because I like the scans that you can have, the lineups that you can have on this map, and the Fade ult is great. But Skye is never going to be bad, honestly. You can almost always sub out a Skye for, like, even any initiator, even Sovas, you know?
I'm just so excited to see the two duelists go head-to-head, especially Alkia. Like, we've talked about how Alkia just, like, she is so aggressive. Like, this is one of the fastest teams in this entire tournament. Absolutely. And her initiators just, like, do everything they can to support her getting into that site.
Yeah, I can't wait to get into this match as BBL versus KRÜ, and throw this over to your casters, Van Silly and Potter.
Thank you, Yunsu. And indeed, there's a big rivalry on the stage right now, Potter. And for us, I think we sort of have a small rivalry as well, because we have choices for dark horses for this tournament. You have BBL Queens,
yes,
and I have KRÜ. So I want you to try to give me the copium as what you think BBL is going to win this one.
I don't know if it's much copium. I think the devs did a really good job highlighting exactly why we should all be fans of both of these squads. But BBL have certainly been kind of, at least in my eyes, Vance, flying under the radar. Look, I know their stats are ridiculous and they are a star-studded lineup, absolutely. But for me, over in the NA across the pond, we haven't really been hearing that much. So I think, especially on their debut on this international stage, it's going to mean so much to be able to just come out swinging in this first map.
And I know people don't have too many hopes about KRÜ with, unfortunately, them dropping 2 maps in a row, 2 series in a row last year in Berlin. But they came in with changes this year around. They brought in 2 duelists to play. One, of course, a duelist in their roles, and Micaela, but also brought in Shies, Brazilian homegrown as well, coming in from TBK, and is playing a great role, and they've up the ante in terms of firepower for this roster. And I just think that it looks really good from what I've seen, at least in the LATAM region. And when the devs talked about that teamwork, they're going to have that on top of the firepower for KRÜ.
Exactly. And I love the fact that the desk highlighted the Sentinels, right? Busting out both Sentinels from both squads. That's something you rarely actually do. Yinsu touched on it, but it's always the damn duelists that are stealing all the spotlights, right? So going right into map 1, we're going into Sunset. Yesterday, we saw how much impact both different Sentinels brought to the table. Sunset is one of those maps that Cypher can absolutely control the entire pace of the map. So I think both squads are busting out the Cypher coming through for Sunset here. So I'm excited to see new setups, new little 4-1s or whatever it is you're doing to highlight that Cypher play.
We're going to see small variations just from the compositions today in itself. When the previous matchup, there was actually a Fade going in as the main initiator for the team. This time around, for these two teams of BBL and KRÜ, going with the Skye. And think about, again, yesterday with the Skies, the Skye disc that we had on that G2 game, they had such a big role to gain information for the team. So there are pros and cons from the Skye versus the Fade, but they both bring so much good value.
Absolutely, and not to mention the double initiator that both squads are bringing to the table, right? When we think about Sunset, is constantly that double controller right now. So double initiator, you're absolutely going to be able to get longer, deeper lines as your sprays is just satcheling and gaining space, diving into there. Now you've got a breach. Now you've got that long fault line.
Breach can be anywhere on the map and send that cross-map help and assist the Rays wherever they are. So definitely, I mean, this game, it should be pretty exciting. It's not going to be as slow-paced as those double controller maps tend to be.
This is why I love this series, because it's not about the records that both of these teams have been holding on whatever they've been playing through their regions. Of course, this is the first time that we're seeing Sunset from both of these teams, but the Breach is going to be that I wanted to highlight because you mentioned it. I had a chance to talk with Fritz, the coach over at KRÜ, and he's like, if we have opportunities to play a Breach, we're going to do it. And BBL is also very competitive with Breach. They love to have their momentum, use the Breach to control the map to their style. And I think both of them clashes quite well between both BBL and KRÜ. So head to head, I don't think there's a clear favorite between these two teams.
I don't think so either, but I'm going to pick one. I'm going to pick one right now and try to...
And you switched over to KRÜ because I convinced
things
you.
up a little bit. No, I cannot. I cannot. The way that Vanya has that stern face on right now, she is absolutely ready to prove her worth on that stage right now. In fact, I mean, I think all 10 players, they look serious business right now,
100%. I mean, you look at Konir when she walked in, already going with the finger gun, walking on the stage. And that's another important thing. The LAN experience. There is a core team for the players over at KRÜ. This is Kalita, this is Konir, this is Romy versus the inexperience of BBL on this stage. And they're also playing one player less on that stage. Unfortunately, Alkia has to play in isolation, but enough that chit-chatter. It's gonna have to happen within the server, and we're finally about to hop into it.
We're hopping right into the game right here. We already highlighted these compositions, double initiator. I'm expecting something fast-paced here on this pistol, Vans.
It's fast and aggressive in a sense that you want to stay quiet for a bit until the Trailblazer comes out on the attack. KRÜ trying to find the information towards this A site.
Yeah, it's weak side right now. BBL only 2 members in the site. That flash is going to buy a little bit of time.
Well, that's going to force KRÜ to come in towards the A choke, though, and the impinction towards the site, and all of BBL falls down in that defense, and it rotates so far away.
It's so far away. All 5 members of KRÜ are going to comfortably be able to set up in a post plant here. We've seen a lot of these retakes come through. Now, it's 3v5, but BBL, they've got to get some picks, and it starts with that.
Starts off very well, but the advantage for KRÜ is they had the time to plant the spike, not in an orthodox position. They can play the crossfire at this point. Konir's the one holding within the site and gets the first blood, at least on the post plant for KRÜ. And there's another one. 3 and 4 into the round, and Konir, a player that shines for KRÜ, played a lot of chamber back last year in Berlin, now goes into a controller role, switching into roles and playing it very well.
Absolutely, absolutely decisive. A bit of a wrong read, unfortunately, for the side of KRÜ at least here, or rather BBL, but KRÜ chose right. They picked the weak side of the map, and again, they didn't really let go of W key that whole time, absolutely realizing that they were able to take the space. And unlucky about those gambles. Sometimes, you know, pistol rounds, that's just how the cookie crumbles. You pick one side, make it the strong side, but we'll see how BBL adjusts as this half goes on. There was a lot of sound cues, a lot of little tells that KRÜ gave over towards BBL that this was going to be a commit.
And also KRÜ was known last year to be very aggressive, just like the VCT side for that KRÜ over in 2022. So lots of aces under the sleeves for this roster as they're controlling towards this middle. A little bit of a jiggle peek coming out of Felipa. Gets contact, but look at the rotate from KRÜ. Already giving up that area and meeting up to re-hit the A site.
Regrouping for sure. I'm going to keep an eye on it, Vans. I'm going to keep track of how many aces they actually get this map and this series. But all 5 members, KRÜ, I mean, this is the second round now that they are calling quite well. Picking the correct site on the gamble here. Just the Omen, kind of looking for info at this point.
It's well done. The jiggle peek that you saw from the market, they expected potentially a stack towards one side. The Omen's playing it passively, and that was Vanya. Just waiting for the team to come back with her so they could retake it together. And the Trailblazer on the attack for KRÜ is going to spot a little bit of that rotation.
BBL, they've got fault line up, and Reyes has a satchel and paint shell still. I mean, they can try to do a little bit of damage, but man, Shy's beautiful shot.
Shy's the star duelist from Tibica coming in as an initiator. ADS and getting the frag with the Bulldog, and Kalita with the support. I mean, the crossfire's really nice for KRÜ on that post plant.
The power of the Omen. The power of the Omen for sure. Busting out that high-low crossfire already. And that's certainly something that BBL are definitely going to have to keep in mind coming through on those A retakes specifically. So many little nooks and crannies that you actually do have to clear. Last player coming through here for KRÜ.
I still like the idea of that smoke that they're throwing for the retakes, though. So all of them flooding back within the spawn for BBL, and they really just want to cut one lane. So focusing on one portion, one by one, and dissecting the sites. And that's something that we're starting to see a lot, actually, when even on a Haven, for example, where you're placing those smokes, you're trying to isolate areas to make it a little bit easier to retake the sites.
Exactly, and that's such a good point, right? I mean, just cutting off that one line of sight really allows you to focus on that one angle, and especially when you're grouped like that and swarmed and you have no other options, you might as well get in there and party. So for sure, the ideas are coming out to play already. Another tech pause already coming out to play already here, but it's all good. It's all good. The
definitely.
crowd, man, this crowd is so loud.
They are definitely
loud. The energy
loud.
is insane.
It follows the tagline that it was going to be louder no matter what here in São Paulo, and they've definitely shown it. There's been so many players and so many fans actually lining up for the players, but also lining up for you, Potter. That was actually pretty awesome to witness in person, to see the stardom that you've actually raised to. But let's focus a little bit. We have the opportunity to talk about this while we have the tech pause with this audio issue. A little bit more about KRÜ on my end, and I want to try to bring it back into conversation of switching camps, agreeing with me that KRÜ is going to win this series. So not only did we
Convince me, man.
exactly.
Convince me.
So not only did we talk about that star duelist, be one of them here, Shies, switching over from Tibica to this roster, but they've also changed roles, right? And then also the IGLing. Kalita is now taking the helm, IGLing for this team for KRÜ. And the reason why they want to choose her is that she's also that very calm spirit for that team. And you definitely need that as an IGL. You don't have to come in with a game face just like we saw Vanya walk on that stage. But if you're able to be that person, to be the voice for the other two that are new on this stage, at the Game Changer stage, that's going to be a lot of help for these two to really shine
for
KRÜ.
And not to mention just the fresh new ideas, right? Fresh new blood coming through. You know, Heather mentioned Connier, so much experience. She was a player that Heather and I both competed against many, many years ago. So definitely someone who's been in the scene for a long time. I'm interested to see, just like you mentioned, Vance, now that Connier is not going to have to micromanage so many different things, how much is it going to put her on a pedestal, right? I mean, there's going to be a lot of mid-rounding and a lot of different kind of communications that Connier is going to be able to bring to the table now that she's not controlling the beginning phases of what the protocols are going to be for the whole squad.
At least controlling as an agent.
Yes.
Playing now the smokes for the team, and you mentioned less micromanaging to do. What did she do? She got a 4K in the pistol. So also on top of that, when you had that experience of Connier that you and Heather competed against her, that's also double voices for this team. So even if Kalita, as this initiator, wants to set everybody up for KRÜ, there's still that second voice. The mid-rounding will be a great point of experience for somebody like Connier to add value to what Kalita's also calling for them to be able to try to take this series. And it starts off quite well. We just see this scoreline right now at the bottom, 2-0. But at least for BBL, is there anything that you've seen so far that, you know, brings us hope that once we start this third round where they have the rifles, that it should be easy peasy 2-2 right away?
Well, I mean, we gotta look straight at Vanya. I mean, she did not look like she was messing around at all throughout any of her interviews or when she's just speaking and talking about her team and this game. So I think this round right here is exactly where she's gonna have to put her money where her mouth is. And this time around, BBL are keeping that strong side towards A. They're gonna trust that their Cypher's gonna be able to do their due diligence.
It's a nice pivot. Dog trying to clear. I mean, the shots will be heard. So you're trying to play that off angle on top of the market. And unfortunately, Michaela comes in with the entry onto Vanya. So that star player is already down for BBL. Now flooding in within this B site is KRÜ in close range. Kalita headshot onto Wentz as the IGL. We might have another IGL fragger right now for KRÜ.
Yeah, another one for sure. That's gonna help a lot. Philippa at least finds herself one. Has a good inkling that Cypher's being a rat somewhere here in mid. If she's able to find that one, there is a chance here for BBL.
Not happening at all. Romy had the better timing. The backstab with the Spectre. Numbers dwindling down for BBL. As potentially these last two players still start towards Boba. Might have to save. And Kalito is trying to find some information, trying to look back towards that pillar. Just got denied that information. And it seems that BBL will try to go for it.
Yeah, it's almost kind of like a bait. That last kill really is egging them on and making them think they have a chance, but the time is ticking, and Ava She's got to book it.
No choice. What can you do? The power of that breach as well. Another one of those, especially in that spike plant, right towards that B site, is going to be a pivotal piece of utility in that fault line to not allow the defenders to really escape from it.
Yeah, and I think the key point there about the spike plant vans is the speed in which it came out, right? I mean, immediately, as soon as KRÜ found that opening, found that entry, they went immediate to get that spike down, get themselves in that post position. And with the aggression that the raise on KRÜ is coming out with, I mean, sure, Vanya got a little unlucky. She was caught with her utility out. That paranoia was out. So getting kind of past those jitters in these first few rounds is going to be very important for BBL. But KRÜ, they are not slowing down.
Definitely not slowing down. This time around, though, trying to find information early, knowing that the economy is very low for BBL. Only one Vandal to work with, and that's in the hands of Alkia, the Vandal that they saved on that previous round. So it looks like KRÜ, they just want to see if there's going to be aggression coming out. Indeed, there is.
You can see Felipa was in the back lines with her arm out, ready with that fault line, trying to give some assistance, but Kelia just gets wiped out. Not even able to shoot a single bullet. Now it's Vanya's turn.
Playing switch around the Vandal, and that's the Vandal to fall, but this time, exactly.
Yeah.
I like to call them pointy elbows, but that was potentially a pointy shoulder, and that Vandal fell down pretty deep towards the spawn. Will not be recoverable, but at least Eva is there with the Sheriff, and will make that weapon come to use with the second one there, but it gets immediately traded out right after.
Good flash and a better shot. 2v2 all of a sudden. Look at Felipa's utility here as well.
Full utility on that breach.
That's a good tag.
Gwen's looking for that timing coming through too from that tag of the dart of her own camera. And now Shy's pushing in, switches over to the second one, and that's gonna stop the bleeding. This 2 versus 1, it's gonna be very difficult for Gwen's to win this. Big flash coming out, Shy's comes in for the third in the round, and that's 4 rounds down for KRÜ, winning the bonus on top of that.
Wow, 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 wow. At least some good, crispy shots coming through with those deagles, at least in this anti-eco. That should instill a little bit of confidence for BBL coming through in this 5th round, second gun round for them in this first half, but they've got to be able to stop the bleeding. It doesn't seem like these last few rounds have been within any of control for BBL. They haven't been able to stop anything that KRÜ are bringing. They got to think about what kind of stopping power do we have? How do we want to react? Let's start using the drill, let's start using the fault line and the flashes, and just start trading some util. Something like this to just get themselves back into the game, get a little bit of breathing room, and be able to shoot their guns back right now.
You're going to love this timeout now if you're a KRÜ, because you've won 4 rounds in a row. The signs that you've shown towards the A site hits, they can't hold it. Mid control, they can't really hold it. And also holding spawn against anti-ecos, and now you're saying, okay, how can we fight against this? But they never really contested B main yet, so they have another strat that they could bring out and really take control of this first half.
And those kind of mind games are the best part about timeouts like this. When you're up 0-4 and you're feeling yourself and you know you're controlling the pace of the map, the sky's the limit. You can do so many clever, ratty things to just get more into your opponent's mind. So for KRÜ right now, they can either double down, they can keep up this W game, or they can slow it down and start throwing some misdirection here.
That timeout being pivotal for BBL Queens. They're looking to add that pressure towards the B in the beginning, but for KRÜ, it seems to be that default style once again. Not too much pressure towards the A side because the Cypher placed that camera up there and trying to see what the defenders will do. This time around, they heard the camera go in towards that link. The flash comes out on middle for KRÜ to get information, and instantly they break the door.
Going through with their own protocols. Now, Michaela wants to find this trip, has a good idea that it's in this general vicinity. And this sort of pressure is going to keep KRÜ and BBL guessing. How many members of KRÜ are actually in their spawn? Omen caught with the paranoia out last time.
Not this time around, it hits, but
Seeker.
she gets hit by a Seeker herself, tries to TP away, but Alkia is there to save. Kanir's the first to fall for KRÜ as the Santos comes across. Vanya just takes her in the air. That's a beautiful crossfire and a nice attempt for what KRÜ is trying to do to push towards Boba, but everything gets denied. It's Shy's alone.
All alone, and you know, this is the second time now that I'm seeing full utility on the back of the breach here as well. I'm not sure if there's some sort of mistiming or maybe that second layer that they're expecting hasn't come through yet, but I'd love to see a little bit more breach util in the beginning of the rounds, especially if Michaela's going to be as aggressive as she's being.
That's a great call and a great start at least for BBL Queens. A prime giving flawless to get the first in the round, and that's a great way to shake off the nervousness maybe that could be you know, shown in her playstyle in the first few rounds.
Yep, shake it off. Shake off the jitters. Got one round on the board, and sometimes that's really all you need to get the ball rolling. So for BBL, 3 ultimates online as well. Vanya finally starting to feel herself. There. I think now, unless I'm doing the caster curse thing, Vans, we might have a game on our hands.
I agree with you, though. They have the ults to work with. A great opportunity for BBL to start spiraling some rounds in their favor. But KRÜ, because of the other rounds that they've won in the past 5, they do have that economy to work with. So less ults, but still another opportunity. They're looking to work back towards this middle and try to surprise BBL once again.
Yeah, rinse, repeat once again here for KRÜ. And a lot of bodies as well. Vanya getting a lot of tells in this moment. And Michaela, this time going straight towards that A site instead of spawn to B.
Break the camera. So the defenders actually had to play in a different position. They're looking to re-aggress up towards A main, and that's Wentz with the first pick onto Kalita. But there's that flank coming from behind, and it's beautiful from both ends. Still the advantage out for BBL Queens as they're holding up towards this A site. Neural Theft now being thrown by Wentz. A jump out through the cage. Nice shot by Konir. Now a 2 versus 2. Showstopper out right at the feet of Romy, and it's up to Konir on a 2 versus 1.
67 HP. Spike is right in front of her, and she's still got the Omen ult. 30 seconds left on the clock, so there's absolutely a chance here. Both members of BBL are very grouped. This is a complete post plant. With the smokes, Konir can really play around on this post plant.
So that smoke and a shrouded step on the other end, though, for BBL. They have opportunities to scout. Oh, the TP to spot Alkia and drop her right away. But there's still Philippa with all of the kit remaining of the breach.
This play coming out from Konir is so clever. It's so clutch. I don't think Philippa's ever going to expect this. 1 versus 1 coming back into the smoke, but Konir's going back to the spike.
And the timing has to be good here for Konir. It wasn't planted for her before. Just waiting for the tap on that spike. Throws the first smoke coming through on that staircase. Waiting for the timing, peeks out, it's out in the open, and she knows that there was nobody on there. Counts the timing once again, beautifully done, and that is a 1v2 for me. That's the Red Bull clutch.
I'm clapping in real life, man. I'm clapping in real life. That's exactly what you want to do, especially if your KRÜ, I mean, look, BBL just finally won their first round. You just completely slapped them down and ruined their money. Came back in a 1 versus 2 clutch on the biggest stage at the end of the year, and Konir just coming up so clutch here.
You needed some reaction time coming out from that shrouded step back towards that market. Another opportunity to real control and just focus on her game and her aim. And that's gonna add the morale. I mean, look at KRÜ jumping off their seats. Change of plans for BBL though, Operator coming out.
Operator for sure, and this should allow Alikia to actually just hold the whole ground herself, right? So much stopping power right after she takes that 1 pop shot. So you can see Cypher and Sky kind of regrouping. They don't want to allow KRÜ to keep throwing these shenanigans in their own spawn. 2 members now holding that line. Oh, that's a very early paranoia here.
That's still KRÜ reading this map so well. Showstopper out, trying to get the entry. Beautiful push by Vanya right on the edge of the smoke. Draws Michaela and also drops the Showstopper. Now I'm trying to answer back, trying to hold the site as well. It's Konir to answer right back onto Philippa. Right off the corner, it's checked, but Vanya's still there for that second. Also play for the third. And the Classic could do more damage than that, but at least Wentz is there to trade off.
What a hold! What a hold coming out here for Vanya. I mean, we talked about the fact that she was warming up into this half, but man, the moves that she made in this round, she started off the round in market, but ended it with a 2-piece all the way back left side site, right? So definitely the power of the Omen TPs coming out to play, but I mean, if you're this mobile and this quick thinking, certainly when you're entering into the site, you just don't know where that anchor is.
And that's a silver lining right now. Light at the end of the tunnel for BBL to start coming back because they've never really seen for KRÜ side that operator that was pulled out by Alkia. Also, this time around, finally an eagle comes out. So room to breathe for BBL Queens.
Yeah, and this is huge. This is everything, especially for the IGL of BBL to kind of stop the bleeding and lead by example here. If you're BBL, you're looking for a clean anti-eco here. You want to be able to start making some bank, building up some ult orbs.
But they know the off is there, so it forces out the Rolling Thunder and trying to push forward. Eva will be able to do so and drop Kalita. The other 4 just holding their grounds, though. They're trying to see if KRÜ wants to continue, or BBL wants to continue to push forward.
Wow, BBL really sending a message there, using that breach ult in the beginning. They do not want to allow KRÜ to just freely collect these orbs on this eco round.
Here. I think it's a smoke miss, but thankfully it just dissipated. That was an opportunity potentially to try to go for a swing and catch our opponents off guard, but the op's still in a great spot.
Yeah, no one's biting, no one's moving, and no one's reacting right now. All 8 members on this side of the map realize that this is where the party is.
Heard the camera just got broken, so they're like, oh, we're going to try to rotate back towards this A side. Doors closed, another trap on the top, a cage being pulled as well, and now the crossfire set up on the top of middle for BBL. Big flash coming through, but Felipa gets the pick, and finally there. Beautifully done by BBL. There's only 1 player left. That's Romy that does a little bit of damage with the Spectre, though. A third into the round. I mean, we're overcommitting to this. That could have been so much damage done, but finally Eva stops her. And BBL put 3 now on Sunset.
Yeah, things got pretty dicey. I'm not satisfied with that round. I'm not gonna lie to you, Vans. If you're BBL, you wasted a breach ult and you lost a lot of guns. But look, kills like that is how you get back into the game. You cannot expect perfection in a game of VALORANT. So doing what they can with these rounds, and at least things are stabilizing now. At least both squads are swinging back. And that scoreline is getting closer and closer.
Just found out that Vanya actually also smiles.
Oh, wow.
So happy with the round that they got, also forcing a timeout to come out on the other end. And there are the supporters. We talked about it before. Home ground is not only for the Brazilian teams, but also just LATAM. As they have Shies representing the Brazilian side for KRÜ Blaze at least. But with this timeout, Konir just laser focused, ready to go back in.
As she should be, as she should be. Things have kind of slowed down for the side of KRÜ, especially considering how explosive and how dominant those first 4 rounds were of this half. But you said it, man, Konir, she's looking ice cold right now. And we're back in it.
It's an important round, though. A lot has been invested in terms of the economy for KRÜ Blaze. Couple of Vandals, hash shields, maybe trying to leverage what they could do with this Rolling Thunder. As Shies, as we're looking at it, is setting up towards this B side. So this finally, after this timeout, is the first time that we're going to see this pressure coming out from KRÜ over towards the B main.
Yeah, exactly. And this is going to be one of those rounds where, for the first time as well, KRÜ is going to do a full-on execute into the site, right? We've seen them visiting towards that mid consistently. This time around, not a single soul towards there. And this Raze wants to see Michaela. She wants to have fun with Shy's util here towards B.
This is going to be a big pick.
Oh, that shoulder.
Well done,
that
Val.
pointy elbow.
And Konir falls. And unfortunately with that, you're going to have to backpedal here for KRÜ. It almost looks like the default they're trying to do is trying to sell a little bit of that noise on that A site, come back towards a Rolling Thunder execution. But that foils all the plans. They now know where the operator is, and they might try their hand with this Rolling Thunder towards A.
Yeah, unfortunate misread there in that moment. They thought the op was on this A line. But either way, the explosiveness that KRÜ are going to be able to bring into the table here, especially with this breach ult that we keep talking about.
Blinded.
BBL, they've got to have some answers, and the Seekers is it.
Seekers, Rolling Thunder on the other end, though, for KRÜ. But the kill still comes out for Felipa. Falling back, unaffected now by the Rolling Thunder on the attack. They're in a great position to hold this A side with 30 seconds left on the clock. You saw that smoke that also came out, and that slows everything for KRÜ. No W this time.
Yeah, it's so unfortunate for KRÜ's side. You saw they weren't able to actually take any space or take any ground. With Konir getting wiped out early and being the first player down for the side of KRÜ, they didn't have any more smokes. It would have been great if Romy were able to kind of go out, throw a cage down, and let her team know that she was able to block off that line. But unfortunately, the stopping power, the answer from BBL with those Seekers was everything.
And off the Rolling Thunder, and you're seeing what Shies has left when KRÜ's saving their weapons, at least for now. Felipa's looking to trade, or at least hunt them down, and they'll be able to save these weapons. But those flashes, there was no flashes aftershocks to really try to flush out the opponents out of BBL site over on towards A. So maybe the gameplay right now for these breaches is to keep that utility for the post plan, but I think you might have to start using it earlier on to at least get onto these sites.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you for sure. I think for sure, again, as we mentioned for KRÜ, if Konir had those smokes available, that round definitely would have looked differently for KRÜ. They definitely need to start keeping in mind about this operator. You mentioned it, I think it was like in the 5th round. Right now it's in the hands of Wens. And this line of sight, KRÜ, they've already kind of suffered from it in this B main. You can see Connier doesn't want anything to do with it, really holding a passive far back angle.
Everything's being pretty passive on this hold for BBL. The camera is being set up for the defense to watch towards this B main. And just a contact play with the fault line for Felipa and Alkia towards the market. So really just giving up mid control and make them think for KRÜ that they have that map and towards the spawn. But instead, BBL's been so good holding across that line of scrimmage here against KRÜ when they're trying to take control of that middle.
They have, and I even like the fact that they're keeping the strong side towards the Cypher. That's a good punish coming out from Michaela. This Cypher ultimate's going to give them so much information. They realize A site is theirs.
There's only one player in there. So what can you really do here for Eva? And Eva has no choice but to fall back. Here's the TP, sees a shadow on the top. Boombot to try to clear the angle. And now Eva finally falls away. Falls back and the plant comes in for KRÜ. But it gives enough time now for BBL to be on this rotate. Already 4 players are there. There's that first contact towards the A-Link. But Romy couldn't get the first pick. So we're back on a 4 versus 4. Time for BBL to aggress right back within the A site. Satchel towards the back of the site. Beautiful paranoia. Nice shot by Connier as well. As that holds it down. Michaela holding the other angle. That high-low is still too good. And the crossfire even more beautiful for KRÜ Esports. And that only leaves one more. Oh, what a flick from Eva! It's a 1 versus 1 on that spike. Sticking it halfway. Goes up for the swing. And lands that shot as well.
Eva! With an insane clutch. We have to rewatch that entire sequence once again because that flick onto that Omen in the site was disgusting.
Insane shot.
Oh my, here we go. Let's watch this in all its glory. It's this shot. It wasn't the Omen, it was the Raze.
Oh my.
What?
A Red Bull clutch of the ancients right there. And Alkia, or Eva right there, the one that's on the stage, the inexperience from BBL on the stage, I don't think it matters anymore. So I'm going to retract that statement on the conversation that we had for that, but we're going right into the action. Coming forward, 1:30 left on the clock. KRÜ is looking for the mid control, but a different position for BBL. Look at them, they actually have players out there.
So aggressive, what a bait and switch. Alikia with the long lines, and the whole time Vanya was there with the paranoia out in case anything got dicey. Good refall back. I mean, this is just beautiful coming out here for BBL. Not only because they find the 2 opening picks, but the fact that they're just able to shut down this A post plant from KRÜ that just looks so good.
They have to try to do something once again. Thankfully, Connier is still alive. They still have smokes to work with. Paranoia on top of that. It's being used to smoke out one side of the top middle, breaking the trip, trying to get some tags there onto Vanya if possible. But they're just in great position. You just play the power of numbers. And you just play the off angles, and it works beautifully. Alkia landing that shot. The operator still a menace in the market. And BBL is in a great position to take the lead in the first half.
Yeah, both players of KRÜ are just kind of getting corralled into the spawn. Felipa rather, goes 1 for 1. Connier, if she's able to get this guy out of the picture, maybe. Uh-oh.
Through the smoke, swinging out.
That mouse jump.
Tapping on the spike, forcing out Eva, and Eva's quite quick on these flicks.
Just a little jiggle. Just a little jiggle one tap. Well, you can't do that, man.
Last round before the
Hey, don't throw me under the bus like that. Actually, I can.
Nice. Here's that setup that we witnessed from the get-go right here. I mean, a beautiful set piece to be able to find the opening for Akelia. I'm saying the wrong name wrong.
It's all good. I got you.
You know what, Raze? She's popping off. I mean, just 1 away now from Showstopper as well.
And that's the beautiful thing about BBL, positioning that operator everywhere to really be a menace against KRÜ. They never dropped her really in these opportunities. As that combination that you talked before with that operator, the paranoia from Vanya was beautiful then. But KRÜ on their last legs on the first half, pulling up the Seekers, a full exec, Showstopper on top of that, following behind the Seekers, and it lands onto Wentz, still moves within the smokes, and Michaela stays alive.
She's still alive with paint shells in hand. Beautiful entry. And KRÜ have been in these post plants before, time and time again, and just falling slightly short. A lot of util on their backs, though, this time.
That's beautiful. Trailblazer just got shot right away at the entrance, so they have no information going back into site for BBL.
wow.
So it has to be a showstopper, but it misses. Advantage coming out for KRÜ Esports still. KRÜ Blaze setting up on the crossfire on the post plant. Emma moving forward. All-star player so far. Seekers on a 1 versus 1. Can she do it again? The shot gives Kinnear's position away, and now we're jiggling on both ends. Another tap. Playing mind games. Lands another shot and comes in for another round for BBL as they take the lead 7-5 on the first half.
That is so damn steady. Ava, it doesn't seem like just any of this pressure is getting to her. That was steady, that was crisp, and that was Ava just clutching another round like she does every single day.
Right now, it seems like the desk have been talking about these Sentinel players or Vanya, but I think they're going to have to really start talking about Eva here, as she's been an all-star player so far. A beautiful clutch that came through, and we're going to have to agree to that, right, Ginsu?
Oh yeah, you know me too well. You know me too well, Vans, of course, of course. But let's talk about some of the things that happened that half. I've got Sapphire and Baby Bay here with me. I think you jumped the gun a little bit. Talk me through this round you chose.
Yeah, so I chose this round because I think it's just good fundamental gameplay from KRÜ. Like, they really slowed up the round. They know that it's like a dodgy buy out of BBL, and just watch it. Just watch this unfold. They get the first kill, which was a beautiful shot, and now they're aware of another push coming through. And this is just good fundamentals. They're already grouped up, and then they're just going to close out the round. It's just clean stuff, not getting caught off guard, not getting ecoed by BBL, who's mechanically insane.
Yeah, you know, you talk about jump the gun, but it was a close series. It was it was a very close half so far. So obviously there was some insane moments for both of the Omens. Kinnear starting off very strong, and then eventually we saw Vanya like getting into the zone, and like especially as someone that plays Omens, like the repositions on Omen, I was so impressed with. Like always changing it up. The amount of people that I kept seeing getting paranoid from Vanya was incredible. But and then just to finish it off, like Eva, like how those clutches. I mean, winning the unwinnable.
Yeah, wow. I also think for Connet, you can feel the fire. We speak about how she might be feeling coming into this after last year, and Heather, she's proving that out there.
She is. This is what a veteran is meant to do to open the tournament. She is playing like that star that Potter and I both know for many, many years. But unfortunately, the BBL is starting to get that momentum, and it's looking a little scary.
Yeah, BBL with a great tack and great adaptations to what KRÜ was doing, and bringing the half back with honestly good set plays and also amazing clutches from Eva.
Yeah, they needed those clutches though. I think it's still very, very close. Anything can happen. Let's get the second half underway. Back to you, Vans and Potter.
We've seen all sorts of Sky pretty much on this map. One getting information, one being the entry, and this time it's just one being the retake solo play from Eva. And I want to know what she could bring out now that BBL has the attack.
Yeah, no, I think Ava saw Mimi kind of getting spicy yesterday on this map and said, whatever you can do, I can do better. And I'm loving it so far. 100% putting BBL on her back and bringing it right into grasp, and oh, she's so fast.
It's quick.
It's done.
A stun on top of that from the fault line at the breach, and that's what we wanted to see from KRÜ, at least when it did the first half. Couldn't get the contact onto Kinnear, but at least Vaughn is there, pushing it to the B main, and instantly all the players fall into defense on the B site.
Insane timing for BBL. What a pinch to come through. Spike will be planted.
Spike planted.
And they've got all the time in the world now from market and B main. With that placement of the spike, KRÜ have to do so much here.
A little bit of room to breathe from that utility coming out from Shines to allow now KRÜ Blaze to move out towards the right side by the staircase, but there's smokes after smokes. There's a flank coming out from Felipa. And this is going to be a very tough task now for KRÜ, but we forget about Romy. That's 2 kills on her end. Disadvantage, though, still for KRÜ Blaze as they're looking for that tap on the spike. The fault line forcing the swing on the other end, and unfortunately, Romy falls, and Eva comes in with 2 kills in the round.
Beautiful, decisive for BBL, and I feel for Shies. I love the play that she did there in that 2 versus 3 in the clutch. Fault lining the right side, allowing her Cypher to get that line on the left and try to get the spike to half. I mean, that was really the only win condition that they found themselves in, so good effort coming through here. But this pistol round, again, we're seeing the power of Breach, and with that raise, if you're decisive like this and you've got a raise that has that movement ability down with the satchels, you can really be explosive.
That's really nice too here from BBL. We see a lot of Valkyrie on a Jet, not too much of Valkyrie on a Raze, and showing that she has prowess on these satchels. It's in her eyes, her point of view, trying to spam behind a Trailblazer that's looking for information. Spots one within the smoke, and they know the site's open. There's that creep.
Yeah,
right
going
through
to the
smoke.
highway.
Nice shot by Konir. That spike down, actually. An
So many
opportunity
bodies.
for KRÜ to move back in. So many bodies within the site. Trades are perfect. Advantage back for KRÜ as Felipe moves in. Back to the classic. Out of bullets, and somehow the Mastercard thrifty comes out from KRÜ as they're not done yet.
Oh no, a little too confident, I think, coming into this anti-eco perhaps. I mean, you saw it as soon as the sound cue came through, as soon as that hit came, everyone rotated. Especially because it's an eco round, you have nothing to lose. You take that gamble and you take it every time. And things get dangerous because of that. Things get dangerous when you just flood and you don't care about your life. So, oh man.
And that player right there, Konir, the self smoke that she placed towards the staircase to isolate herself in a corner. That was that first blood in the round. And they're going to try to do it again, though, for BBL. So let's hold that thought of what Konir could do. Let's see what BBL could do this time around as it's their turn on an eco.
Alkilia had a frenzy on her back this time. But BBL, or rather KRÜ, they've learned their lesson.
Staying far back, definitely. Solo play from a Cypher within the B site. More players playing further back towards the middle. The aggression is more on the crossfire towards A main. So we're just really trying to find the information a little bit more passively.
Yeah, and that's going to be so important as this half goes on, is really just keeping track of that fault line. You know, we talked about KRÜ learning their lesson and kind of not keeping their bodies in there, but communicating to each other when that fault line is down and keeping an internal clock of when it's coming back up is going to be extremely important to kind of telegraph when those hits are actually going to be coming.
Seems to be coming towards this market. A flash for contact, doesn't get any information, so an opportunity for them to really set the pace, set the tone for this push towards this market. Nicely done by Shines, though. Fault line has slowed him down. Romi's playing within the site with Kalita as they're just holding these angles. Passive, beautiful trip to get into the pick. We're looking for potential flawless. One more player remaining, and you will definitely see the Prime Gaming flawless this time around.
The power of the Cypher, and with just a simple crossfire, they're able to dominate that anti-eco. And that's what you want, especially with the shenanigans that we just saw the round before. You want to be the team to be able to have clean rounds just like this and build up your bank. So for KRÜ, that is just such an incredible swing round. Now coming through, I mean, it's just shifted. When you lose that second round, the bonus is off the table. Now it's kind of KRÜ's bonus, but kind of BBL's first gun round.
BBL's gun round is
that's gonna be
focused
so
towards
much
his B
damage.
side. Thankfully, there's a little bit more nerfs coming in here from Pain Shells with the newer patch. So only Eva comes out with 86 HP remaining, but they still want to hold their ground now towards this A main. Potential re-hit.
Yeah, if you're BBL though, you're pretty satisfied with this. Sure, you gotta trade a bit of util to gain the ground, but you already know fault line is down. You know Paint Shells is down. All members of BBL grouped with the Cypher lurking, and the jig is up. KRÜ, they've just found the Cypher.
They found the Cypher. It's the battle towards middle. An over-rotate coming out, though, for KRÜ. As even a Cypher, Romy gave her position away, or gave her position towards the B site away, which allows now BBL to move up.
Yeah, these are some weird reads coming through here for KRÜ. Romy's gonna catch that fault line, but thankfully for her, KRÜ, they have no idea.
And she's going to hear all of those footsteps, too. So they'll know that they're going to play more passively towards that back of the site, probably play that triangle formation in the back of the pillar at that B site. Meanwhile, for BBL, they're running a marathon around the whole sunset.
I mean, because they're confused. They're like, where the heck is this Cypher? They can't believe it, but when's? That's going to make this post plant so much easier.
Finally found the Cypher. And unfortunately, running out of bullets is Michaela as she gets dropped by Vanya. Alkia looking for an opportunity to push forward off the assist, off the flash, but Konir's just waiting around the angle, also supported by Shais. One jumping forward, Felipe gets the pick. Will the trade come in? Low on HP, tries to fall back, and it works out for a bit. Konir is now the last player remaining. Her teammates has fallen towards the front of the site. So she has to play the solo. Double smoke's being thrown, nice little shot, and the off angle there. Eva, once again, is pretty much the pillar for BBL in these late rounds.
Pillar for sure. I wonder what happened, what the communication was that came through for the defense side, but you saw that KRÜ were early rotating. Romy kind of just ditched her her post and started going towards spawn. So they for sure thought that some sort of A split was coming through here. But that quick pivot for KRÜ and this strong post plant is making this B site so dangerous.
That's a great call. It seems that there wasn't too much utility being used after the initial trades towards the A side, so one small push from a Trailblazer forced that over-rotates. And they want to try it again now for BBL. Early Trailblazer out, getting information towards the right side. Corneer gets spotted, TP's away nicely, but there's a TP also from Vanya in the back of the A site, and Corneer still falls.
Just off the rip, Vanya's all of a sudden on the back lines. Everyone is falling in the sights, and Michaela, she wants to get the heck out of there. She needs to save the op now. Maybe Romy can find some sort of exit kill. But at this point, yeah, KRÜ, they just got to save everything they have.
Especially when the Seekers come out. There's no element of surprise coming out for KRÜ this time over. Romy trying to save her weapon towards mid. You definitely see the players of BBL trying to hunt down at least that one player for Romy.
Yeah, interesting Seekers to blow here in the post. Really just solidifying this round, trying to get the 10th on the board. If BBL are actually able to punish and get some kills, that could be huge, but it looks like BBL want to save their money as well.
Important. You mentioned the operator that was there. Michaela made it out at 7 HP, only thankfully met up with Kalita for the full heal, and their attempt there is to keep their grounds, keep their position. Also, look at the position on the post plant. You're not really as the spike goes off, you're not really trying to set anywhere where you're trying to save as a group. You're like, okay, if you fall, it's okay. At least we'll try to save the rest. So they really are trying to salvage whatever they can within that last round.
Yeah, getting everything they can out of that round. And Vanya, I mean, Vans, I looked down, I looked up, and all of a sudden she's in spawn shooting people in the back.
Yeah.
That was so fast.
Aggressive. I mean, it's this time BBL's turn to hold that W and really take over that A site. It seems to just make sense. A lot of these plays so far on Sunset as you're starting the map, it comes with a lot of aggression towards this position right here.
Yeah, and a quick adjustment for this one. Bringing Romy to just be the anchor towards this A site. This should change the dynamic a little bit for KRÜ, allow their members to be a lot more mobile, take a lot more duels towards this B site. But BBL, they want to take care and handle business over towards A, still being very patient, but all 5 members group. You can see Ava's kind of leaving the pack. She wants to send some misdirection, get some info towards this B main.
Already running towards there. Trailblazer. So they know that Michaela is pushing forward in this spot. So potentially that the stack is happening towards the A side. So what's the read for BBL? They still want to go for it. Still towards this A side.
Yeah, but the fact that Romy is still here and has a Sky to assist with these flashes, it's going to be difficult. Now they know.
Beautiful flash. Fault line for the assist. Kalita gets the pick onto Alkia. Room to breathe for KRÜ. As now that straight off is beautiful. But Eva, once again, this person alive right here, moving forward. Blocked off by smoke, thrown by Corneer. Has a flash to work with and will use it. No contact as a cage also came across for Wen. So they isolated within the A site and are trying to go for that plant.
Yeah, and that was a beautiful call. You saw that ping coming out for Ava. She wanted to isolate, see if that bird got any info on her left side. Now she's got a strong idea.
That's two lined up. And the hat. Corneer gets spotted and Wens holds. Gets the hat trick on top of the hat being thrown, and that's BBL at 11.
Surely we get a replay again of Wen's one taps there. I mean, BBL, you know, the desk talked about it. Individually, this squad is filled with superstars. But I thought it was just going to be Vanya. Everyone stepping up and stepping up huge. Ava consistently, but this time it's Wen's on that Cypher.
How do we say it? Sorry, BBL, I wasn't aware of your game, right?
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with your game.
That's it. Sorry, I'm a boomer. But now an important timeout being called by KRÜ Esports. We talked about really the timeline of this game that was always in control by KRÜ Blaze from the beginning until round number 5. It was like, what, 4-0, 5-0 at that point. And finally, we're starting to see when that operator started coming out for BBL Esports, and it was, or BBL Queens, sorry, and there was no answer coming out from KRÜ. That changed all over here for Blaze. They've been in full control since that moment.
Yeah, and I think for these ladies on KRÜ right now, during this pause, they've got to just be kind of reinforcing their own game plan. Because you said it, Vans, in the beginning, they were controlling the pace. You know, when we've got Michaela flying around in the sky, really believing in that breach stun, those entries that she was finding from that pistol round to that first gun round on their bonus, that's exactly what KRÜ need right here. Set up your Ray, set up Michaela, find those entries, and allow Kanye to just close out the rounds.
And also, they've been a little bit more reactive in their playstyle for KRÜ, banking on the retake plays where unfortunately they didn't have much of that opportunity to play those retakes because of the numbers that are falling down here within the executions of BBL, who are looking to work towards this B main.
Yeah, and KRÜ, once again, really keeping the Cypher very mobile. This time around, Romy defense is set up back towards this B, and just last round, Romy plus Khalida towards that A halls was so dominant. Again, both in tandem, trying to defend this B site, but those sound cues right now, BBL, they've heard it. They know the Cypher setup is here, so now they're deciding, do we want to hit this site?
And on top of that, they'll hear the Trailblazer coming out too. So 2 sets of shots though got heard.
They did get heard. The fact that no one saw Akeelia yet, and that dog didn't clear, I like this move coming out for BBL. This is so sweaty. Sending the whole squad back towards this A, sending that misdirection, but the timing that Akeelia is going to find here should be everything.
And it's more misdirection. The flash went towards middle that didn't spot anybody, and look at that over-rotate coming out for KRÜ because of that flash and the fault line. Rolling Thunder for the full fake. Even an entry on top of that. This is going to be the best fake that's been thrown so far by BBL Queens. You're never going to run for a loop as BBL will have an open A site or B site.
Positioning though, Romy's positioning, this could be the crux. Oh, well, not if you're Philippa.
That's Caster Curse. So Platt comes in now on the staircase for this B main. And they have full control, really, of middle and of B on top of that for BBL.
Yeah, Spike's going to get down, and you can see KRÜ are scrambling, trying to figure out exactly which retake protocol they want to call. They've got to find an opening pick. They've got to find something to give themselves a chance here.
It's going to be a dangerous retake. Losing this one here, they won't have economy to work with for the last round. It's just too much utility for BBL, on the post plat. And unfortunately, they can't even cross the entrance of the market. BBL's now at that point.
Yeah, that's so unfortunate for KRÜ's side. You saw Khalida, I mean, just doing Sky duties over there, finding that information, but just that small move, not clearing that right side, gave them just that sense of security that they never should have had. It's an information game here, information warfare, Vans, and BBL, they've got all of it.
And the hopes that they have now is on the back of a showstopper potentially to stay alive. It's being used on the attack though from Malkia instead. Counter showstoppers coming out, it misses, but somehow still stays alive within the B site. How is she alive for so long? There's that first kill. Romeo had her hands full pretty much towards the B main. That's the reason why. Unfortunately here, the hopes of KRÜ trying to come back are thin. BBL just wants to continue to push towards the spawn. They're flipping the map over. And it's time now for the defenders to retake from the B main.
Yeah, flipping the map for sure, and they even planted the spike for that area. Connier, the jig is up. A lot of utility on her back.
There's that first smoke. Phantom picked up Paranoia as well. First contact, nice little dink, and a nice flick onto Eva. The third one peeks out, so information on both. An opportunity to win right here. Paranoia being thrown out, tap on the spike. A TP being heard. There's that first headshot, but time is running low as Vanya, the star player, gets the last pick, and BBL Queens take the first map.
I fully believed in that clutch for Connier. What an effort coming through. Both Omens in this first map were just insane. The type of plays that we're seeing coming out for both squads was incredible. So decisive for KRÜ, but BBL, the fact that they consistently had answers, especially as the map went on, I mean, that's experience. That's exactly what you want.
Well, with that, hopefully a chance to come back for KRÜ on that second map of bind, and that's gonna happen after the break.
when you play an actual ranked game, it's 50 minutes, but how much are you actually shooting? With Aim Labs, you can compete in over 1,000 tasks that will prepare you for any scenario in any game. So the new ranked season, you play, you get points, you can compare yourself to your friends. With Aim Labs' new one-to-one Valorant maps, you get instant feedback on how to get better crosshair placement, better peak efficiency. You can also instantly modify existing tasks with Discovery. Get started today by downloading the Aim Labs for free and join millions of other satisfied players.